was starting to get the feeling that the word cute was something of a sore subject for my prince. Yeah, maybe just a touch. I didn't know why it had upset him, but the reason didn't matter. If only I could turn back time and do it all over again. If only this was a video game, I could reset and start from the beginning. Oh, Mr. Wizard. Ha, if only. There was no wizard here to grant my wish. Oh, this is so specific, though. Okay, Eureka, okay. Thus, I had two options remaining. If there is no wizard, then I'm not en route to a bad ending, which means I only have two options. Red Riding Hood or Gretel. Okay. Nope. I'll think of something myself if I have to. And so I settled on a third option. Ah, I see, because you talked to Cinderella and Kagi about what do guys like. So you're like, I can talk to Red or Gretel now. Nope. Let's just not do that. But just then, the sudden knock brought me back to my senses and I jumped to my feet. I knew there was no way it could be him, but just in case, I ran a hairbrush through my hair real fast. Then I walked up to the door and took a deep breath. Come in! Tucking a strand of hair behind my ear, I opened the door. The epitome of sophistication and grace, if I do say so myself. Unfortunately. I knew it was going to be you.
Sister?
It's him! I couldn't stop myself from screaming. I know, of everybody.
Ugh. You act like I'm a ghost or something.
Scowling, Gretel covered his ears. Sorry. I had a feeling this would happen, but I really wasn't expecting to be right. You mean, you were hoping. You were hoping you were not right.
You speak as though you're not happy to see me. Well, that suits me fine. You must not want this one-of-a-kind dessert I made for you, so I'll eat it myself.
Pouting, Gretel turned to leave, but I grabbed him by the sleeve. In his hand was a jar of cookies. I don't want to eat anything this boy makes. I don't wanna. The cookies were laden with candies of every color, eye-catching and vibrant like a stained glass window. No! I'll eat them! Please let me eat them! He turned back with an impish smile on his face. Oh, I thought I left this behind. Molly said.
Well, I guess if you insist. Here, open wide and say, "Aw."
Ah. Ah. I hesitated for a moment, then closed my eyes and opened my mouth. I waited and waited, but no cookie came. Hello? I opened my eyes slightly, only to find Gretel eating the cookies himself. Ah! Ah! I pointed to my open mouth, begging for a treat.
This is what you get for treating me like crap, sister. You deserve your punishment.
I'll take it. He pouted like a sulking child. Aw, come on! So I responded in kind.
Aw, don't look at me like that. Alright already. Good grief.
As he spoke, he put a bite-sized piece of cookie into my mouth. Yatta! So, since you're here... So, tell me, Gretel, what kind of girl do you like? I already knew the answer to this question, but I decided to ask anyway, like a dummy.
Sister.
Aw, thanks. Saw that coming a mile away. And so this time I went all out and made some fancy sweets for my Prince Charming. He's not going to eat them. I'm sorry about last time, Prince. I made you these.
No thanks.
His reflexes were lightning fast. At least when it came to rejecting me. Defeated, I broke off a piece of cookie and popped it in my mouth. The sugary sweetness danced on my tongue. The way he kept rejecting me outright, I was starting to get some vibes. Some I don't want to eat anything you touched vibes. If you're not interested in handmade stuff, I could always buy you something.
No need.
He shot that down too. But at least it meant he wasn't disgusted by my food specifically. As I gazed down at the stained glass cookies and pondered my next move, I suddenly felt his eyes on me.
Those cookies.
Hmm?
They're pretty. They remind me of your eyes.
Ah, you old smoothie. Your eyes are like cookies. The next morning... As I was making breakfast, Cinderella walked into the kitchen dining area. Good morning, Cinderella, and what a lovely morning it is indeed. I called out to him energetically. He recoiled. Ugh. Morning? Breakfast is almost ready, so sit tight. I'm making your favorite, roast beef. For breakfast? Sounds like one hell of a breakfast. I thought it'd be nice to spice things up every now and then. Go on, have a seat. As he hesitated, I prompted him to sit down, then turned back to my work. Dude, what's her deal?
She's been in a proper good mood all morning. Ugh.
I could hear them whispering behind me, but I paid them no mind. Listen to me, humming away like a busy bee. Then, once breakfast was ready, I brought it to the table. Here you are! Today I made roast beef, grilled sea bream, and blueberry raisin pancakes. Aw, it's all their favorite things. That's all of our favorites.
And absolutely none of it goes together. Good morning, everyone.
Just then, Gretel turned up. Hi, Gretel! As soon as I spotted him, I pulled him into a hug. Oh boy.
Sister?
Gretel, thank you so much for everything you do for me. You're the best little brother a girl could ask for. What would you like me to cook for you? Name it and I'll make it. Overwhelmed by my energy, Gretel stared back slack-jawed for a moment until...
Sister. Sister!
He suddenly leapt into my arms, sobbing. No, I don't want more Gretel. Can we like delete it? Please. I'm done. We did this. We did it and we're done. I want to move on to Snow. That's all I want in my life.
What part of that was supposed to make him cry?
Beats me.
Ugh.
There. I stroked his hair as he sobbed. Really, it was all thanks to him that my prince called me, or rather, my cookies, pretty, so arguably he had put in the most effort out of anyone. Squint. Pretty. Oh, what a wonderful word. I feel pretty, oh so pretty.
You seem to be in a really good mood tonight.
You think so? This was the first thing my prince said to me when I arrived at the lake.
Yeah, you're smiling non-stop.
I pinched my cheeks.
Did something fun happen?
I blinked. Since he was usually so sharp, I figured he would have pieced it together. You don't know why I'm so happy?
No clue.
At this, I smirked. Then allow me to give you a hint. It stems from something you said. You may not have realized it at the time, but it meant a lot to me. He paused for a moment.
Because I said your eyes were pretty.
Bingo!
Huh. So you like it when I call you pretty?
Of course, silly. Any girl would be happy to hear that. Even if he was technically complimenting... you get the picture. Oh, I know! Do you have any favorite foods?
Why do you want to know?
Well, I can make it for you.
No need.
Okay, well, it was just a thought. Let me know if there's anything else I can do for you. I'd feel bad if I'm the only one enjoying our friendship. A pretty slick segue, in my own humble opinion. Now, if only I could find out what he was looking for.
I wouldn't say you're the only one.
He stared at the ground. Huh? His voice was so quiet I couldn't quite hear him. Then he spoke again, this time more loudly and firmly.
I don't really need you to do anything for me. It's cool. We can just hang out. But I could use a pillow if your lap is free.
Well, well, well. You've just made this girl even more happy. Never in my wildest dreams did I expect this request. Of course! I spread my arms wide, inviting him in. She is so thrilled. Look at her. She can barely contain her glee. Ah, excellent. I can finally be comfortable reading this book. Oh, this is great. He placed his head in my lap, then started to read his book. He was essentially using me as a cushion, but did I care? Not really. What are you reading?
A classic mystery.
The front cover was purple in color and weathered from lots of rereads. Clearly, this was one of his favorites. So you like to read?
Yeah, I guess.
Now that you know he likes to read, how do you respond? Well, let's share something in common. Me too!
So what?
His chilly response nearly made my heart freeze over. Well, so much for that. Oh, I know! Is there anything you can't stand? Eureka's saving me again like she did in Red's Route. Like, anyway, moving on to the answer we should have picked. I hastily switched to a better question.
Something I can't stand.
He hesitated for a moment, and then...
I hate my face.
Can't say I was expecting that one. I should have known my prince wouldn't make this easy. Could I ask why?
I don't want to talk about it.
Then I guess we won't. I decided to stop asking questions and simply enjoy the moment.
You don't want to talk or anything?
Won't it be distracting while you're trying to read?
Not really.
Okay then, what do you want to talk about?
Tell me about you.
Can do!
I want to know more about your family.
You do? A hint of suspicion rose up inside me, but I didn't let it show on my face. Instead, I did as requested and told him about my closest family members, my brothers. As I mentioned before, I live with my 4 brothers in a cafe downtown. My oldest brother, Cinderella, is kind of a jerk sometimes, but he's really responsible and caring. The second oldest, Red Riding Hood, is super serious and super shy. Then there's the third oldest, Kaguya. He's really sweet and happy-go-lucky. And lastly, my younger brother, Gretel. He's a good-looking guy who's really good at baking.
Sounds like quite a family. It must be chaos every day.
Yeah.
But I can tell they love and cherish you.
At this, I shifted my gaze. And Red, who was standing like a bouncer with his hands folded behind his back, hastily concealed himself behind a tree. Would you agree that your brothers love you? Yes, obviously. Yeah, you could say that. I pictured each of my brothers' faces and smiled. They're all different in their own ways, so it can get pretty crazy sometimes. But they're also a lot of fun to be around, and I wouldn't trade a single one of them for the world.
Eureka.
In the distance, I heard Red say my name in a pleased tone. Yes, even you, Boo. Do you have any siblings, Prince?
Nobody blood-related, but I do have a brother figure in my life.
Oh, like a sworn brother?
Something like that.
I was just guessing, but it turned out I wasn't too far off the mark. Fun fact, sworn brothers is when two non-related guys make a pact to treat each other like real brothers. Not just in a, what's up, my brother, sort of way. Supposedly, it's a lot more serious than that, like a blood oath. He lowered his book and looked into my eyes. What's wrong?
There's this other person I know who reminds me of you.
How so?
Well, they're tactless, outspoken, and nosy, just like you.
That didn't feel like a compliment. Sounds like they're a friendly, optimistic, assertive sort of person.
Luckily, they don't share your ability to willfully misinterpret me.
Now it really didn't feel like a compliment. For the record, is this a woman we're talking about? I asked casually, keeping my emotions under wraps.
I first met him right here at this very same lake.
Oh, so it's a guy. The word him set my mind at ease. Clearly I had the wrong idea.
He's always smoking cigarettes, even though he doesn't seem to enjoy it.
Ew.
You don't like smokers?
Not at all. My dad and brother both smoke, and I yell at them whenever they try to do it around me. Which brother? But even as I said it, something felt off. Uh-oh! Uh-oh! Trouble! When I referred to my brother just now, which one was I talking about? I couldn't remember. Uh-oh, this is getting good.
Because it's bad for you.
Hi! I pushed the strange discomfort to the back of my mind. No point in worrying about it, right? Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm sure it's fine. If your friend ever wants to quit smoking, tell them to suck a lollipop instead.
A lollipop?
Yeah, that way it'll almost feel like a cigarette.
Oh, that makes sense.
But I gotta say, I don't know why anyone would smoke if they didn't enjoy it. Your friend sounds weird. At this, he smiled slightly.
Yeah, he's weird, alright.
Oh my god, he smiled! He's so adorable!
What's with that derpy look on your face? That said, you're not like him at all.
What? But you just said he reminds you of me!
I mean physically. You're similar, but very different.
Oh, I get it. Or so I claimed, but truth be told, I didn't quite understand. This other guy was a total stranger. Chances were high we wouldn't look alike. So what did Snow White mean by similar but different? Curious, very curious. Okay, I think we can assume from that her real world dad and brother do smoke. We've only had Dad show up in one route so far, Cinderella's, and we didn't get a sprite for him. So, He sat up, then slowly rose to his feet. All done?
Yeah.
He offered me his hand, which I accepted. As I rose to my feet, his collar came into view. Hey, Prince, your ribbon's untied. He looked down at his chest.
Oh, you're right.
I reached out to tie it, but he grabbed it before I could. He stood there, ribbon in hand, frowning. Does he?
How do I tie it?
Called it. Oh, it's easy. First you tie the two pieces in a half knot, next you make a loop with each end, then you make another half knot with the two loops, and voila! I untied my own collar ribbon to demonstrate. But he simply frowned, puzzled. Want me to do it for you?
No, it's okay.
Then ganbate! At my prompting, he made another attempt.
Ugh.
Alas, it didn't go well, and the ribbon slipped out of his hand. You know, I wasn't expecting you to be so clumsy with your hands.
Got a problem with that?
He pouted his lips sulkily. It was so adorable I couldn't help but giggle. Do you usually have someone else tie it for you?
My mother.
Gotcha. Then he fell silent. Confused, I tilted my head. What's wrong?
If I can't tie my own ribbon, does that make me a loser?
Do you think Snow White is a loser? No! It's okay, ribbons are hard. No, it doesn't. I smiled and shook my head. Nobody's perfect. Besides, it can be hard to tie a knot, especially when you're doing it on yourself. It can end up all crooked and stuff. So, if you really want it to look good, the most efficient option is to ask someone else. For example, whenever I need to wrap a gift really nicely, I'll always ask Cinderella. But I think it's really admirable of you to try your best, even when it's not something you're good at. I shot him a wink. He blinked back at me in surprise.
Admirable?
So let's see you give it another try. Gambate! On cue, Snow White grabbed his ribbon. You can do it! First, you start with a half knot. Yeah, just like that. There you go. As I watched, I instructed him step by step. Next, make a loop with each... Ah! As he tried to make the loops, the ribbon fell from his fingers. Evidently, he was a lot more clumsy than his delicate appearance would otherwise suggest. Don't give up. If you keep trying, you'll get the hang of it eventually. I gave him a thumbs up.
Yeah, I'll keep trying.
That's the spirit! Unfortunately...
Ugh.
Motivation didn't always translate into results. He shot me an accusatory look like, hey, what gives? You said I'd get the hang of it. Listen, man, it took me months as a kid to learn how to tie my own shoes. And that's a lot easier than tying a bow around your neck. Alright? Well, it can be hard to see your own neck. Then I had an idea. Why don't you practice with my ribbon first? I untied my sleeve ribbon and held it up for him. Maybe he needed to be able to see what he was doing with his hands in order to learn the ropes.
But what if I'm bad at it?
I believe in you, Prince. He took the ribbon in his hands and started to tie it per my instructions. That's the ticket! First make a loop with one end, then make another loop with the other end. Then you loop them together in a half knot. One end goes through the hole.
Through the hole? What the...
As with all skills, it would take a lot of perseverance to learn. Moichido! I needed to be firm. I couldn't let myself coddle him. As for what happened from there, well...
I did it!
Omadeto! And it only took him 18 tries! Hooray! That's actually really good.
But it looks weird.
Oh, it's going sideways.
Oh, so I did it wrong.
You'll get better as you practice. I giggled and he frowned at me. Oh, sorry. I'm just really happy, that's all.
How come?
Because I was your first. Not in a weird way or anything. I hastily added a disclaimer.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, now it's time to tie yours.
I'm out of time.
Huh? But what about your ribbon?
I'll practice at home.
Hey, wait! But he turned on his heel and swiftly strode away. Darn. I held my crooked ribbon aloft under the moonlight. I didn't care if it looked goofy. To me, it was the best gift of all. Now then, I guess it's time we headed home ourselves. Red?
Ugh.
But my brother had already passed out from a nosebleed. Well, dragging you back home, I guess. Hopeless. Almost out of time. Interesting.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Show me what I want to see. Tell me what I want to hear. I took my collar ribbon and moved my fingers just as she had instructed me. Oh! But no matter how many times I tried, it never worked. Oh. Finally, I was so sick of trying that I flopped down on my bed. Staring up at the empty ceiling, I thought of her. Honestly, I should have just asked her to tie it for me right from the start. It would have been faster that way, and the end result would have looked nicer. The old me probably would have asked her in a heartbeat without even thinking about it. But instead, I grabbed the ribbon and tried to do something I'd never done before. Why? Because she wasn't my mother. She was a stranger, and I couldn't expect her to love me the same way my mother did. As I sat up, my ribbon hung limply from my neck. I pinched it between my fingers. What an eyesore. Anyone could tie a bow. It was easy. But until now, I'd never even tried. All this time, I'd never felt the need to do so. But now... if I keep trying, I'll get the hang of it eventually. I repeated her words like an incantation as I once again attempted to tie a bow. She wasn't my mother. She was a stranger. And that meant we could be equals if I tried. She didn't abandon me, nor did she step in and do it for me. Instead, she trusted me enough to let me handle it. She believed I could do it. And I needed to prove her right. Step by step, slowly and carefully, I followed her instructions. I did it once. Surely I could do it again. Eventually... I did it! It ended up sideways again, but it was still a bow. A sense of accomplishment filled my chest. I had taken my first step. And now I was one step closer to being on equal ground with her. Just then, I heard the door open.
Oh no, I knew Mom was gonna come in as soon as he finished it, dang it.
Snow White? What are you doing? My mother had come home. Mother! I raced over to her, uncharacteristically excited. See this ribbon? I was so proud to have tied it myself, I wanted to show it off. However... Oh dear, what happened? It's all crooked. Oh. She untied the ribbon and retied it more neatly. You're always such a little prince. Yeah. Prince. The ideal man that any woman would want. Every time I heard that word, a dark shadow fell over my heart.
Interesting, but you let her call you Prince.
The prince rides up out of nowhere on a white horse, finds the lost princess, and rescues her. But that was all a fantasy.
Ah! As soon as we got home, we ran straight into Cinderella. I'm home, Cinderella!
As am I.
Welcome back, you two. You know, I'm impressed you can stand going out night after night into the freezing cold. Anyway, I put the kettle on so you can have some tea or something before bed.
Aw, thanks. Thanks? Excuse me. I could always count on Cinderella to be considerate. Kicking off my shoes, I headed to the kitchen.
Hey, your ribbon's crooked.
As I passed, he pointed to my sleeve. It's fine! I spun away from him, shielding my wrist. Normally I'd let him fix it for me, but this bow was my prince's first ever successful attempt, and it was special to me. Smiling, I ignored Cinderella squinting at me dubiously and went into the kitchen.
Here is a kid with berries from a cushion.